putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. If they charge us, we charge them. So somebody say, well, how much are the tariffs? India, as an example, has been very bad to us on tariffs. They charge 100%, 200%. India, very, very tough. Very, very tough. India, very, very tough. Very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left. He's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%.
सौगंध मुझे इस मिट्टी की, मैं देश नहीं मिटने दूंगा, मैं देश नहीं रुकने दूंगा, मैं देश नहीं झुकने दूंगा.
Viewers, we are witnessing history being rewritten in the most elegant, most dignified way possible. I'm choosing my words carefully. Donald Trump, the man who has built his brand by being brash, by what many call the tweet storm diplomacy, the man who is the author of a book called The Art of the Deal. That's the cover page. That's the cover of the book. That Donald Trump, viewers, announces a deal that he had himself had to soften, had to compromise on, had to accept on India's terms. Viewers, remember, Trump had called India's economy dead, and now he has had to swallow every bit of that pride, and he had to announce a tariff cut from 50 to 18%. Viewers, do you know what brought him to this point? It was not a shouting match, no flattery, not backroom deals, or the White House photo opportunities that we've seen that compromises dignity. It was one man and the resolve of the man, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who simply refused to blink. This is how Modi redefined the art of the deal. Trump wrote the book on bluster and brinkmanship. Modi wrote a new chapter, and you could call it Deal with Dignity. The chapter on silent strength. No drama, no public insults, no desperate photo ops, just patience, principle, and an unshakable commitment to India first. He let the clock tick. He let the pressure build on the other side. The government has said that India's interests have been secured. Our farmers, our manufacturers, our pride, most importantly, has been protected. This is exactly what Modi has always promised. मैं देश नहीं झुकने दूंगा. I will not let the nation bow. A superpower leader had to blink first because one man kept his word to 140 crore Indians. But while the nation is celebrating, the market cheered the deal. A small section of our own political class chooses to sulk in the corner. Rahul Gandhi calls this landmark deal a compromise. That's the post by Rahul Gandhi. He drags in Epstein files. He mentions Adani. Anything to muddy the waters. Anything to mock the deal, viewers. This is not new. You would remember there is a pattern that we've seen for years. When our economy grows faster than most of the world, they call it jobless growth. Have you forgotten that? Jobless growth. When our braves give Pakistan a bloody nose or more than a bloody nose, they doubt their valor. Rahul says we don't even know whether Operation Sindoor was a success. Viewers, why this bitterness? Why this abject refusal to celebrate whenever India wins? Maybe, I don't know, maybe for some, India's rise is not a national victory. It is a political threat, a political defeat, which is why they behave this way. Viewers, the facts speak louder than any snide remark. Trump has blinked, tariffs have been cut, India stands tall, and Prime Minister Modi has done this with calm and dignity. This deal is not just about steel or aluminium. This is about self-respect. It is about proving that India is no longer a nation that can be bullied or blackmailed. Viewers, that is the real art of the deal, the one that really matters.
सरेंडर और जी हजूर करके नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ट्रंप के इशारे का पालन किया. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने कल शाम उस डील को साइन कर दिया. नरेंद्र मोदी जी पर प्रेशर है, भयंकर प्रेशर है कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री को कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर दिया गया है, एप्स्टाइन फाइल्स में अभी और माल है, वो अभी रिलीज नहीं हुआ है.
बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है कि राहुल गांधी जैसे नकारात्मक सोच रखने वाले नेता देश को आज गुमराह या भ्रमित करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. मैं घोर निंदा करता हूं राहुल गांधी जी की. झूठ और फरेब के नाम पे वो लोगों को गुमराह करना चाहते हैं.
You heard the reactions. Let's open this up. Sanju Verma, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji, Nikhil Jain, Anmol Pawar, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Faizan Kidwai, the national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Professor Monojit Mondal ji, and Tushar Gupta completes the panel. Kamruzaman ji, first things first, and please don't mind, what is the Epstein files linked to all of this?
Pranesh, I am coming to this. First, have you heard of the 123 nuclear deal? Have you heard of the US GSP generalized system of preferences? Have you heard about this or not? Or should I remind the viewers that the nuclear deal of 2008 entered by India under Manmohan Singh ji ended India's isolation in the nuclear arena. But this trade deal that Modi ji has browbeating right now ends India's leverage. One built the future, this one has mortgaged it. That's the difference. Before even Narendra Modi ji came to power in 2014, US tariffs on Indian goods were hardly 2 to 4%, with billions entering duty-free under the generalized system of preferences. Today's concessions that we got from so-called the India-US trade deal self-congratulated by Narendra Modi for the prime-time TV viewership, garlanding himself, is being sold as generosity. But they are only restoring what India already had, minus the strategic autonomy. Most importantly, the Commerce Minister here comes and says that the tariff from the US has been reduced from 50% to 18%. That's a blatant lie, because the reciprocal tariff, Trump has imposed on India was 25%, from which he has reduced it to 17%. A reduction of just 7% he has reduced. And the 25% was India's assurance not to purchase Russian oil. Where is the trade autonomy that India is boasting of? What will happen to the agricultural sector? Where is the $500 billion trade going to come from India's side? These are the questions the Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, never wanted to answer. And
now, you've had your say, sir. Actually, I shouldn't have, asked you the question I did. But let me try again. Imagine a situation where Rahul Gandhi, who calls Indian economy dead, says the Indian economy is flourishing. How would you describe that moment? Rahul Gandhi ने अगर ऐसा कर दिया तो आप क्या कहेंगे उसको? Think about it and then answer. You don't have to answer it right now. I can give you time, go around the panel. When you are ready, you can tell me.
Pranesh, I don't have to think an answer. It's already there in public domain, the answer. If you permit me 10 more seconds. मोदी जी ने अपना देश को अपना डरपोक का वजह से, अपना डरपोक नीति का वजह से, डरपोक नीति का वजह से मॉर्गेज रख दिया अमेरिका के पास में. मागा मिगी ये सब नाटक जितना हो रहा था, डोनाल्ड और ये सब जितना, और आपकी बात ट्रंप सरकार जितना भी किए है, उतना ही नुकसान हिंदुस्तान को पहुंचाया. अदानी का साथ में क्या हुआ नहीं हुआ यूएस में, अगर प्रधानमंत्री अगर उस जगह में नहीं झुकते, हम किससे तेल खरीदेंगे, किससे कितना रुपया का कारोबार करेंगे?
If you talk about Adani, then I have 5 questions that will expose you in less than 2 minutes. And then you will say, look, the anchor does not want to discuss the trade deal. So don't even go there. You know what I will ask you on Adani. Do you know what the Congress governments have been up to with Mr. Gautam Adani? So look within. Don't drag. You see, just to make an argument fancy, don't drag in these things. Epstein files, Adani, etc., etc. Think of how you're going to argue your case. Point that I'm trying to make, and let me try this with Nikhil. Nikhil, the Congress has been saying that, look, Donald Trump has called Indian economy dead. That Modi surrendered. What kind of a surrender is this? That the man who called Indian economy dead is now signing a deal, announcing a deal without the Prime Minister saying a word. Can there be a more powerful message?
Pranesh, absolutely not. There cannot be a more powerful message. India today is a country that can never be bullied. India cannot be told to stop buying oil from Russia. India cannot be told that our farmers would have to now compete with American corporates. India cannot be told to invest $500 billion in a first world country. India cannot be told to reduce its import duties and tariffs that we levy on American goods, but sadly this is what India has accepted in return for what? Reducing the import duties on our goods in the America from 50% to 43%, while just a few years ago it was 2 to 4%, as Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary has already mentioned. Now, if you think that this deal is a winner for India or the Indian government or the Prime Minister, very well to you. Let's see what the farmers of this country are going to do when they'll have to compete with cheaper soybean, corn, wheat and other agricultural products. Let's see what our manufacturers and small business owners are going to do when they'll have to compete with American products.
The Commerce Minister has clarified that the interests of the farmers have been protected. Moreover, this is like, what Rahul Gandhi did with the unpublished book of former army chief. When the details, the fine print is not out, how are you, saying this will happen, that will happen? On what basis? Because Rahul Gandhi thinks, so the ecosystem will amplify. Right? Sanju Verma, you've heard Kamruzaman ji, Nikhil Jain. This is a compromise deal, says Rahul Gandhi.
Pranesh, I'll divide my answer very quickly into 2 parts. First and foremost, Rahul Gandhi saying that the Indian economy is dead is a whole lot of balderdash. The world's 4th largest economy, en route to becoming the world's 3rd largest economy, the world's 2nd largest producer of steel, cement and energy, the world's 3rd largest producer of automobiles, the world's 2nd largest smartphone market, the world's 4th largest forex reserves, the world's 5th largest stock market, the world's 6th largest gold reserves, and most importantly, India is the only country with which every other major country wants a deal right here, right now. India Mauritius FTA, India UAE FTA, India New Zealand FTA, India UK FTA, India EU FTA covering 25% of global GDP and 24% of world population. And now, if India EU FTA was the mother of all deals, this is the father of all deals. The India US deal is what I'm talking about. The fact that tariffs have come down from anywhere between 25 and 50% to 18% is just one part of the story. The bigger story is this, that there are many areas where the reciprocal tariff will be 0. And how does this benefit us? I don't think anybody on this panel knows more than Moody's, the global rating giant. And what did Moody's say today? The global rating giant said, this is an excellent deal because it's a huge positive for India's labor-intensive sectors, be it textiles, leather goods, organic chemicals, plastics, home decor, gems, jewelry, footwear, so on and so forth. And the other important bit is, I say stock markets are not everything. But till 72 hours back, entire Darbari ecosystem was saying, oh, look at the budget. Stock markets have fallen. Today, at one point, the stock market, I'm talking of the Sensex, was up more than 4,000 points. It finally closed up 2,000 points, just shy of 84,000. And today, the rupee registered one of its biggest single-day gains in the last 3 years, moving up by 122 paise. So what will the India-US trade deal do? It will lead to higher FII flows, more FDI. It will increase our export competitiveness. competitiveness. It will empower our standing in the global value chain called as GVC. It will also lead to better trade numbers. It will lower our current account deficit. It will lead to higher capital inflows. It will give us greater leverage with our other trading partners. And don't forget, we have not ceded an inch on agriculture and dairy products. And what Piyush Goyal also said is that the India-EU trade deal was excellent. But where the India-US trade deal, scores hands down is the fact that now many of our agri products, tea, coffee, spices, tobacco, will get greater market access.
Even if Nikhil Jain or others on the panel or otherwise would want to make this about the fine print, the numbers, I have a question for them. Just look at what we have. We have a situation where the opposition led by Rahul Gandhi was saying that Trump has declared that Indian economy is dead, which is why I am justified in calling Indian economy dead. Rahul's logic, not mine. The same man has had to eat his pride, eat crow as they say. But now they are saying this is linked to Epstein files, etc., etc. Tushar, I'll come to you. Let me go to Professor Mondal. Professor Mondal, I'm sure you're aware of the commentary before Trump's tweet. We have discussed that in the past. You would say, why is Modi silent? Why is he not responding? Look at the bluster that, the way in which Trump is ridiculing India, etc., etc. Look at this, sir. The art of the deal. 50% say 18% without any noise.
Just two questions to the government and the BJP spokesperson. Are you going to buy oil from Russia? Number one. Number two, are you going to buy oil from Iran? Just give these two questions on record, as you used to do. Everyone knows that these were the conditions given to Mr. Modi by Trump, that you have to buy oil from us, that is newly ceded colony of America in Venezuela. And Mr. Modi has clandestinely surrendered to this new imperial policy of Mr. Trump. Everyone knows. Mr. Trump has now acquired a colony, Venezuela, which is rich with oil reserves and is unable to sell the oil, and India is a market. India is the most thriving market, and now it will be completely dominated, especially the oil market, completely hegemonized by American imperial policy. And our Prime Minister, who bola tha jhukne nahi denge, desh ko bechne nahi denge, he has surrendered the pride of the nation to this American imperial policy.
Professor Mondal, you've asked two questions. Would you care to answer one, at least one? Are you aware that India was already buying oil from Venezuela?
From Russia, as used to do.
No.
And Russia,
I get it. I'll get Sanju Verma to respond to that. Fair questions. Fair questions that the government must clarify. But sir, do you know the oil import from Venezuela? This is not the first time that we would be buying oil. And should we not buy oil because, Trump has colonized Venezuela? Or should we buy because we will get a cheaper rate? What should dictate our choice? Aap bata dijiye.
I'm asking these questions to the government panelist or the BJP spokesperson.
Sir, I am asking you. I know. I said there are fair questions. I will get Sanju Verma to respond to it. I am asking you. This is not a counter question. I just want to know that what drives this hate for Modi.
Well, like the question of hate. We rather on your television show, I told again and again that you do the Nahle Pe Dehla. What America is doing with us, do that with American companies also. Please put a tariff on them. You could not do that.
Do we know?
And kaisa Atmanirbhar Bharat hai bhai? Samjhao mere ko. What kind of Atmanirbhar Bharat is this? When you could not control your market, American wreaked havoc on our market for the last 6 months, and you had to blink. Not just blink, you had to surrender.
Sir, one minute. Sir, you have to understand how economics work, how the markets work. Everything is interconnected. Panel पे भी वैसा ही होता है. Hysteria by one panelist, you know, it can make or break a show. So, sir, 1 minute. Let's get in Faizan Bhai. Faizan Bhai, do you agree with what I'm trying to say? That the principal point by the opposition was that, look, Trump is dictating, Modi is quiet. Trump has now softened his stance, has had to swallow pride, 50% to 18%. Now the opposition says this is surrender. How is this surrender?
Good evening, Pranesh. Good evening to you. This is the tweet of Donald Trump. He says, friendship and respect for Prime Minister Modi, and as per his request, effective immediately. So he's trying to put it on Mr. Narendra Modi that we are requesting him to ease out the tariffs. So this is and Narendra Modi and the ecosystem, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the eco chamber is saying this is a victory for diplomacy. This is a victory for diplomacy, but not Mr. Modi's diplomacy. This is a victory from Donald Trump's diplomacy. Everything, if you dissect this entire deal, you will see it is a US which is going to benefit, and we as Indians at large, the taxpayers, the citizens, we are going to suffer, Pranesh. First of all, the status quo of 2004, when the tax was around 2.4%, has not been restored. Then he's forcing, you should know there are a few things before anything. I'd like to draw your attention and your viewers' attention to two bills that were passed by Narendra Modi. He hid this from the citizens. One is the Shanti bill. It is the Sustainable Harnessing Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India bill. He passed this bill to please Donald Trump, and not only Donald Trump but also the nuclear lobby of America. Now the US corporations can sell expensive reactors to India with limited liability. Earlier they were completely liable. Now they have only limited liability. And the burden will fall directly on the government of India. That means the burden, God forbid if something goes wrong, falls on we, the citizens. Then there's an LPG pact, Pranesh, where Mr. Modi has forced the Indian PSUs like Indian Oil and BPCL to finally procure expensive LPG.
Why are you complicating things? एक simple सा सवाल है. आप लोग कह रहे थे कि Donald Trump is dictating. Do you think Donald Trump, the man that he is under any pressure to put out a post?
Pranesh, please मुझे इसको complete कर लेने दीजिए. 2.2 मिलियन टन जो है महंगी गैस अब खरीदी जाएगी यहाँ पे. क्यों भाई? डोनाल्ड ट्रंप कौन है हमारे? उनको खुश करने की क्या जरूरत है? चाइना टेक्स अ स्टैंड. चाइना सेज नो टू डोनाल्ड ट्रंप.
चाइना टेक्स अ स्टैंड. चाइना पे टैरिफ कितना है? फैजान भाई, चाइना पे टैरिफ कितना है?
सर टैरिफ जितना भी हो, बट एटलीस्ट दे कैन टेक अ स्टैंड.
क्या स्टैंड है सर?
एंड फोर्स थिंग्स. Plus,
I'll have to bring in Tushar. Tushar, China takes a stand. China gets a higher tariff. We get a lower tariff, but our stand is not a stand. This is surrender.
Good evening, Pranesh. I am very disappointed to say that no one in this panel has even cared to go through the details of whatever has been shared by the Indian side and the American side. Firstly, the tariff has gone down from 50 to 18%. The 25% tariff on Russian oil, which we were paying, that has been taken away. Point number two. Now, some will ask, have we surrendered our strategic autonomy? Are we no longer going to buy Russian oil? Let me remind this panel and your viewers that in 2022, when you had a Democrat president in the White House, India defied both Europe and America to import oil from Russia. The Indian government has been changing its oil importers as and when the market forces dictate. Our oil imports from Kuwait, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, they all rely on market forces, and the government has also said that market forces will enable the decision of whoever we import our oil from. Point number three, are people going to say that we are no longer going to get discounted Russian crude? Please note, between 22 and 26, the differential between Russian crude and the crude from the rest of the world has also narrowed down. Point number four, and I want to fact check Nikhil Jain, we are not opening up our agricultural sector. I'll repeat, we are not opening up our farm and dairy sector. There is a fine difference between opening up your farm and dairy sector entirely and importing certain agricultural goods. For the knowledge of this panel, we already import goods, agricultural goods, worth $1.7 billion from America, the majority of it being dry fruits, which we do not cultivate in India, which is a fact. We also have a trade surplus with the Americans, which has doubled since the Modi government took over, from $20 billion in FY15 to $40 billion in FY25. So anyone who's saying that, oh, Modi government has surrendered Americans, Modi government has lost the American market, are entirely wrong. Our trade surplus is pretty strong. Number 5, the 500 billion number. People are saying this is unrealistic. They'll have a 0% tariff. That is also wrong. Our annual good import from America is $50 billion. A trade deal or an FTA is not signed for 1 year. This is not like the budget. It's signed for a number of years across several phases. So you can easily cover the 500 billion mark. But it doesn't mean that we have 0% tariffs on all American goods. As of this date, we have tariffs between 5% to 150% on several American products, depending on the category. And as and when the negotiations of the trade deal happen, the tariffs would be decided. Similarly, for our side also, the tariffs would go down from 18%. Final point. You cannot assume anything until the trade deal is announced in a joint statement, like it was done for the European Union, narrowed down to a single category and a single product. So everyone here who's fear-mongering, who's misinterpreting what Donald Trump is saying, should also listen to the Indian side. Our strategic autonomy is safe, our trade surplus is safe, our exporters are safe.
No, for them the Indian side is Rahul Gandhi's commentary. That is the Indian side. Let me bring in Anmolji. Anmolji, what do you make of, the commentary by Rahul Gandhi? आज बोल रहे हैं Epstein से linked है. Let's also focus a little bit on what happened in Parliament. Unruly behavior by Congress MPs.
Pranesh ji, good evening. Pranesh ji, today is a black day for Indian farmers because our Prime Minister has surrendered before Donald Trump. As we have witnessed in the past that it is the US President who is dictating the trade terms. He's the one who imposed a condition on our country that we won't buy oil from Russia, that India will buy oil from Venezuela. They have imposed a tariff of 18% on our country. Earlier we used to pay on an average less than 5% tariff, and India in return has reduced the tariff to 0%. So I want to ask you, how is it benefiting the farmers of our country? How is it benefiting our agrarian economy if we are opening the market for the Americans?
We are not. Tushar just told you. Who said that we are opening our markets?
Here even the US Secretary has tweeted today, and in the past also, I'll read out for you. In 2024, America's agriculture trade deficit with India was $1.3 billion. India's growing population is an important market for American agriculture products, and today's deal will go a long way to reducing this deficit.
Sir, the Americans take time. No, 1 minute. Americans take, like you've seen with Trump, Anmolji, I'm sure you will appreciate. Trump को एक case study की तरह देखिए. The man who said Indian economy is dead, today announcing the economy, and look at how that post is worded. He is all cheerful. कितनी बड़ी ये बात है कि अगर आप किसी को कुछ बोल रहे हैं सरेंडर और फिर उसी के साथ जाके आप डील कर रहे हैं. संजू वर्मा, Tushar, I'll come to you. Say so. Yes.
Pranesh, because Anmol Pawar is not having the complete readout from where he can read, nor Nikhil Jain, let me tell the panel that from America, we import tree nuts, which is dry fruits, cotton, ethanol, forest products, essential oils, meat, seafood, proteins, and soybeans. We do not import wheat. We are not planning to open up a horticulture sector. Please, I request people on this panel not to just fear-monger in the name of politics. We are not opening up a farm and dairy sector. We did not open it up for the Europeans. Why would we do it for the Americans? Where is the common sense on this panel? I'm literally flabbergasted.
That I can't answer. Sanju Verma, Manojit Mondal had 2 specific questions.
Pranesh, I will answer Manojit Mondal's question, but let me tell something else. I'm surprised nobody on this panel, nobody has made one very pertinent point. Do you know 2 large sectors do not come under any tariffs from the United States of America? One is pharmaceuticals, one is consumer electronics. In pharmaceuticals today, India is the 2nd largest player in terms of volume. accounts for more than 27% of the global generics market and more than 65% of the global vaccines market. And guess what? In terms of consumer electronics, our annual electronics production is 12.5 lakh crore. Our annual electronic exports is more than 6.25 lakh crore, of which iPhone exports alone are more than 3.7 lakh crore. So the biggest point I want to make here is this. Two large sectors do not come under any form of tariff regulation. Pharmaceuticals and consumer electronics, which no panelist has, chosen to even speak of, and I'm shocked. Which means you guys don't come on debates after reading or doing basic due diligence. The other thing I want to ask people through your show, without looking into Google or your WhatsApp, since you get your feed from there, tell me the difference between tariffs versus non-tariff barriers. कौन बता सकता है विपक्ष से जो यहाँ बैठे हैं ज्ञानी लोग, बताइए difference between tariffs and non-tariff barriers. The difference is simple. Tariff is like a duty, a tax, a surcharge. Non-tariff barriers are like export or import quotas, restrictions. They are largely rule-based. And in the case of the India-US trade deal, we have said no to any form of NTBs.
No,
that is
two questions that Professor Mondal was asking. One is about Russian oil and about the deal to buy, more oil from Venezuela.
I will just say this. Do we already buy from Venezuela in terms of our oil and, oil affiliate related purchases? Yes. Has Prime Minister Modi or even Piyush Goyal for that matter said that we have stopped or will stop the purchase or import of Russian oil? No. Have we said that we are going to stop purchase of, LNG from Iran? No. So I will just say this. Let us wait for the fine print because, the fine print will be out in a couple of days. Itni jaldi kya hai? Pranesh, just last point. Yahan par baitkar, oh my God, economy is dead. Let me tell the, panelists here. When Prime Minister Modi took over in 2014, our absolute GDP was $1.8 trillion. Today it is $4.34 trillion, 141% growth. And in 10 seconds, Pranesh, when Prime Minister Modi took charge in 2014, our annual exports were $300 billion. Today it is $856 billion, which is 185% growth. और आप यहाँ बैठकर मोदी सरकार को इकोनॉमी पर पार्ट बना रहे
No, we are also being told that, the negotiating teams are finalizing the joint statement, which is expected to be announced in the next few days. So let's wait for that. You had two questions. I think, Sanju Verma put it out there. Professor Mondal, 1 minute. Nikhil Jain has been wanting to say something for a long time. Yes, Nikhil.
Very, very long time. The BJP spokesperson is out and out lying in Donald Trump's tweet, which is pretty much the only official information that we have about the deal other than the political bickering. He clearly writes they will likely move forward to reduce their tariffs and non-tariff barriers against the United States to zero. The Prime Minister of India also committed to buy American. And this is a tweet from this is a post from the Agriculture Secretary of the US who says that they are going to push agricultural products into the Indian market.
Now, Nikhil, 1 minute. आज मैं भी print out लेके आया हूँ. हर रोज लाता हूँ. I don't flaunt the papers like you do. 1 minute. Listen to Donald Trump, what he said on 31st July. I don't care what India does with Russia. They can take their dead economies down together for all I care. ये बोलने के बाद he is announcing a deal slashing the tariff from 50 to 18%. Amounts to something, at least optics, but even that you won't concede.
Investing $500 billion in the US, committed reducing all tariff and non-tariff barriers to zero. Why would he not take that deal? It is the art of the deal of Donald Trump. He's not able to get a good deal with anybody, but somehow he manages to get a good deal with Prime Minister Modi.
Let's for a moment, okay, Nikhil, let's for a moment, okay. Let me agree, let's for a moment, Tushar, let's agree with what Nikhil is saying for a moment. कोई बात नहीं, मान लेते, hypothesis, मान लेते. It's a great deal for America. 50 से 18 क्यों कर दिया?
No, Nikhil Jain is, speaking the truth and cars can fly. What he doesn't understand, if he wants to quote Donald Trump and if he wants to quote American officials, why doesn't he understand that we already import certain agricultural goods from America? It's not that our agricultural good import from the US is zero. It's worth $1.7 billion, and I gave him a list of the products we import, and that is where our focus will be. If his doubt is that we'll start importing food grains or pulses or horticulture products where our farmers have a dominating role, or horticulture products or dairy products or poultry products, that is not going to happen, because if that was to happen, we would have done it with the Europeans also. Even with the European FTA, this is a trade deal. Trade deal is not an FTA, just to be clear for this panel. Even within an FTA, we did not surrender our farming and dairy interests. So why would we do it with the trade deal? I do not understand why Nikhil Jain is making stuff up on national television without any proof. He doesn't even understand the difference between opening up the sector and already having a certain amount of agricultural goods.
The almonds that we import, भेजना चाहिए आपको निखिल जैन के लिए, फायदे हैं उसके काफी. Nikhil, yeah, what is the new paper?
Pranesh, I've been showing documents after documents, proof after proof.
Yeah, what is this document and proof?
Not facing
what document?
From 50% to 18%, it is 50% to 43%, number one. Number two, we are committing to not buy Russian oil. Number three, we already...
Where is the commitment? No, 1 minute. Where is the commitment to not buy Russian oil? Dikhaiye. No, bring out that paper. I want our camera to zoom in. Where is this? Where is this commitment to not buy Russian oil? Where is the commitment, Nikhil Jain, in your head? Where is the commitment?
डील का पेपर आया नहीं, डील के ढोल नगाड़े आप पहले
तो then why are you? अरे डील का पेपर आया नहीं निखिल, तो डील का पेपर, तब से मैं वही बोल रहा हूं, अगर डील का पेपर आया नहीं तो how do you have so much details? Let's wait for the details of the deal. मैं तब से वही बोल रहा हूं. Tell me this bit. Show me one paper where we've committed to not buy Russian oil. कमरू जमान जी के पास होगा. कमरू जमान जी, कौन सा पेपर है सर, बताइए.
नहीं, देखिए, सबसे पहला चीज यहां पे एक ही इकोनॉमिस्ट बैठा हुआ है. मेरा एक सीधा सा सवाल है. इंडिया आरसीईपी, फुल फॉर्म होता है रीजनल कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप. 2019 में मोदी जी बहुत ज्यादा हु अल्लाह कर उससे निकल गए. क्यों निकला, उसका जवाब आज 6 साल बाद में भी हमको नहीं मिला. नतीजा क्या हुआ?
मैं बताता हूं सर, मैं आपको बता देता हूं, मैं बताता हूं. संजू वर्मा ऑल्सो वांट्स टू कम इन. मैं बता देता हूं. Any deal that we enter, sir, not just an economic deal or deals between two countries, any deal. सुन लीजिए कमरू जमान जी, 1 minute सर, मैं भी थोड़ी बहुत समझ रखता हूं. Any deal that we do, we don't do a deal in vacuum. It depends on a lot of things. And the minute the deal does not make sense or it is not in your interest, you opt out of it. 1 minute. अब आपको मैं इसका एक पॉलिटिकल एग्जांपल देता हूं. 1 मिनट. इसका पॉलिटिकल एग्जांपल आपको आसानी से समझ में आएगा. द आम आदमी पार्टी had an alliance with India कांग्रेस भी थी उसमें, पॉलिटिकल अलायंस. आप realized that Rahul Gandhi is projecting himself as the leader of India alliance. They snapped the deal, came out of it, or whichever way you want to look at it. Congress realized that Mr. Kejriwal has this image, so let's come out of it. ये होता है सर, इसीलिए we came out of the deal. Sanju Verma, respond to that, then we move on.
I just very quickly want to say that the Congress tried pushing India into the RCEP way back in 2011. Thank God the Modi government, decided to exit in 2019 because the RCEP conglomerate wanted us to open our dairy sector, stop subsidizing our farmers, allow duty-free access to Chinese textiles and leather goods, stop subsidizing our milk industry. We said nothing doing. If we had agreed to stay in RCEP, India would have become a dumping ground for cheap Chinese products, which is perhaps the reason why Rahul Gandhi and his mommy darling Sonia Gandhi signed that MOU with Chinese authorities way back in 2008. आज तक नहीं बताया आखिर वो 2008 के MOU में था क्या. But very quickly in 5 seconds, this is very important, your audience needs to know. Anybody who says that Narendra surrender, blah, 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 सुन लो बड़े ध्यान से. I'm giving out in 5 seconds our trade surplus data with the United States of America. FY21, we had a trade surplus of $24.2 billion. FY23, $26.8 billion. FY24, $37.9 billion. FY25, $41.4 billion. FY26, provisional figure, $46.8 billion. You don't run a trade surplus with a country if you are not negotiating as equal
Anmol
partners.
Pawarji, quickly. I knew you would want to say something the moment I mentioned Mr. Kejriwal. Please.
Pranesh ji, BJP spokesperson gave lots of facts and figures, but the people of this country know that all their promises are hollow. They have always backstabbed and betrayed the farmers of the country. We saw that how they introduced 3 black farm laws, and after 2 years of protest, when more than 700 farmers laid down their lives, they were forced to roll it back, and now they have devised a new way to backstab the farmers by
Punjab
opening
sir,
the market.
do you know there's a state that the Aam Aadmi Party is in power? Tushar, Punjab, farm laws, Kisan.
You know, the Aam Aadmi Party keeps bringing up these farm laws. Are they even aware that states across India have actually embraced farm laws? States across India have actually entered into contract farming, be it their neighbor Himachal Pradesh or Jammu. Jammu's lavender is famous globally. Himachal's horticulture is famous globally. Northeast Meghalaya's pineapples, which Rahul Gandhi himself spoke about, is exported to the Middle East. What is this Anmol Pawar even talking about? He doesn't even know how agriculture has evolved in the last 5 years. And you know, today, who's the one suffering? It's Punjab. You look at the Finance Commission report, the capex of Punjab is lower than even some northeastern states.
Which is why I mentioned Punjab, but you know, we'll have to move on. Faizan Bhai, we'll have to move on. Thank you for joining us on debate number 1.